Thinking is difficult, that's why most people judge. Carl Jung. Understanding is harder as it requires deep thinking, patience, compassion, and an open mind. Judging is simply our attempt to create a hierarchy of better than and less than, superior to and inferior to, and to define worth to everyone and everything that we meet. We have the innate urge to be right, to be better, to be superior, always. Our binary view of the world around us necessitates us to be either right or wrong. So we tend to judge. In our primitive past, making quick judgments was a matter of survival. The human brain evolved to rapidly categorize others as friend or foe, trustworthy or threatening. While the immediate risk today is not as high, this instinct still exists and drives us to quickly assess new people and situations. This quick system of thinking allows us to navigate the world efficiently, without conscious effort, mental shortcuts and cognitive biases. Since we don't have the time or energy to thoroughly analyze every person we meet, our brains use mental shortcuts known as heuristics. This is driven by several common biases. American-British psychologist Raymond Cattell, known for his psychometric research, identified 16 factors or dimensions of personality that we all possess. All of our personalities are actually made up of the same traits. We differ only in the degree to which each trait is expressed. According to Cattell, people simply express these traits in different ways, at different times, and in different areas of their lives. Some may be dominant, and some may be dormant. Judging is relative. Our constant comparison or validation of everything that we perceive with what we believe. Our beliefs may have been a function of our own personality traits, our conditioning, at multiple levels like societal, cultural, or religious, and our life experiences. So, judging is never absolute to others from their frame of reference. We tend to attribute other people's actions to their character, while we attribute our own actions to situational factors. For example, if someone cuts you off while driving, you might assume they are a bad person, but if you do the same, you justify it by explaining you're in a hurry. In halo effect, we generalize one positive trait to form an overall positive impression of a person. If someone is attractive or well-dressed, we assume they also possess other positive qualities like intelligence or competence. After forming an initial opinion, we tend to notice and interpret new information in a way that confirms our first impression. This makes it difficult to change our minds, even when faced with contradictory evidence. Lack of patience. We live in a fast-paced world and often lack the patience to get to know a person's true character, which takes time. The brain's shortcut system. The brain is built to process vast amounts of information with limited energy. To cope, it relies on heuristics, mental shortcuts that help us make decisions quickly. These shortcuts allow us to assess whether a situation or person is safe, trustworthy, or threatening in milliseconds. First impressions are a result of this system. Within seconds, our brains take in facial expressions, body language, tone of voice, clothing, and context. Before someone even speaks, we might already have an opinion about them. While this was helpful for our ancestors trying to survive in the wild, in modern society, it often leads to snap judgments based on little or no meaningful information. Social conditioning and stereotypes. We all want to feel good about ourselves. Often, we compare ourselves to others to measure our worth. When someone seems more successful, attractive, or confident, our ego might feel threatened. Judging them becomes a way to level the playing field. For instance, if a colleague gets promoted, we might think they only got it because they're close to the boss, instead of acknowledging their hard work. This kind of judgment serves the ego but poisons relationships and trust. Social media and the age of instant reactions. Platforms like Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram reward fast opinions. A post is seen, liked, or criticized within seconds. There's no time for context, backstory, or nuance. The more extreme the reaction, the more engagement it gets. This has trained us to judge instantly. A video clip taken out of context can destroy a reputation. A misunderstood tweet can lead to outrage. The speed of the internet has conditioned our brains to form and express judgments faster than ever before. Why it's harmful. Quick judgment often lacks fairness. It can lead to misunderstanding, discrimination, and broken relationships. We miss the opportunity to truly know people, especially those who are different from us. It also feeds stress and anxiety, both in us and in those we judge. We also judge ourselves harshly using the same standards. Self-criticism, shame, and perfectionism often stem from the same mindset that causes us to judge others. Slowing down judgment can lead to more self-compassion too. How to break the habit. Pause before reacting. The moment you notice yourself forming a quick opinion, pause. Ask, do I have enough information to judge fairly? Even a few seconds of reflection can make a big difference. Be curious, not critical. Instead of assuming the worst, try asking questions. Why might someone act this way? What might their story be? Curiosity creates connection. Criticism builds walls. Challenge your assumptions. Notice recurring judgments you make. Are they based on fact or bias? Are they rooted in your upbringing or culture? Bringing them into awareness is the first step to letting them go. Practice empathy. Imagine what it's like to be in the other person's shoes. This doesn't mean excusing bad behavior, but it opens the door to understanding from childhood. We are taught to categorize people by race, gender, class, religion, profession, or personality type. These categories are reinforced by media, education, and culture. Over time, they become internalized stereotypes. For example, if someone grew up hearing that people who dress a certain way are dangerous or lazy, they might unconsciously apply that stereotype when meeting someone who fits that description, even if they've never had a negative experience themselves. Judging fast becomes a habit because it feels normal. We rarely question where these impressions come from, even though they may be built on biased or outdated assumptions. Fear and insecurity. Judgment is also a defense mechanism. When we feel insecure, unsure, or afraid, we tend to judge others more harshly. It's a way to protect ourselves by labeling someone as weird, arrogant, or wrong. We create a psychological distance that keeps us in control. This is common in environments where people feel threatened, workplaces, schools, or social media. Quick judgment helps us draw lines between us and them. It gives us a false sense of superiority or safety, but it also closes the door on empathy and understanding. The ego and comparison. Diversify your exposure. Read books, watch films, or follow people online who come from different backgrounds. The more perspectives you're exposed to, the more open your mind becomes. Focus on yourself. Often, judging others is a reflection of our own inner conflict. Instead of projecting outward, ask what the judgment says about your own fears, insecurities, or values. Judgment versus discernment. It's important to note that not all judgment is bad. We need discernment to make wise decisions, protect ourselves, and navigate life. The difference is how and why we judge. Judgment is reactive, based on little information, and often harsh or critical. Discernment is thoughtful, slow, and considers context. It's the difference between saying, "They're a bad person," and saying, "I'm not comfortable with how they treated me, and I need to set boundaries." Judging others quickly is a deeply human tendency, shaped by our biology, culture, and experiences. But being human also means we have the ability to reflect, grow, and choose differently. When we slow down, ask questions, and stay open, we create space for empathy, connection, and fairness. In a world full of noise, complexity, and division, learning to hold our judgment, even for just a moment, can be a powerful act of humanity. It's not about never forming opinions, but about making space for understanding before we settle into them. Because often, when we look beyond the surface, we find more common ground than we expected. Judging shuts us down and prevents us from understanding the full situation or a new truth that is not known yet. Through judging, we separate. Through understanding, we grow. Dos Antamata. It's unwise to say, "Stop judging others," as all our attempts against our innate human nature may go in vain, as it's not as straightforward as it appears. Instead, we can learn to become more self-aware when we judge, and through that awareness, move on to adopt more interesting thought patterns. We can also be more appreciative and compassionate of the world around us for what it is, rather than trying to fit it into our optics. Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Tilda, Ian McLaren.